personal client section. Now, its core functionality is to very quickly show you where do you stand with the taxes for the status of your clients during that season. But as you might notice, there is a lot of the same informational fields as there were for business clients. So personal clients do have their own More Info tab. They also have the Edit Pencil with the other tab for the customizable fields and the Notes section. And they do also have a scratch pad on the right-hand side. The difference for, main difference for business clients and personal clients is for personal clients, they will get separated for each different year that you do taxes for them, which means there will be a different year category in the program. And the categories can be easily accessed by clicking the address book here on the left-hand side of both business and personal clients. And when it comes up, it will show you, sorry, I accidentally closed it there. It will show you in here a listing of all your business, personal clients, and the different years that you have in the system. So if you had a listing of 2012, when you moved to 2013, it would have made a copy of the 2012 list in the 2013 folder. So what's important to know about that is for the scratch pad for personal clients, anything you leave in here actually doesn't get carried forward when your file is copied. It stays on the year you left it on that file, whereas business clients are not like that. So if you want information carried forward, you'll either want to edit the information on the client and leave it in the other tab, or put it in the More Info section as a communication there. Now, the majority of your time is going to be spent in the View List option here of the Personal Clients section. The first thing you want to do is have a look at these checkboxes and make sure that they do or do not match the way in which you run tax season for your clients. If they don't, which they probably don't, this is just our default set of steps, you can click the shoe print icon here at the top labeled Define Process Steps, which looks like some shoe prints in the snow. And from here, you can swap, delete, modify, and add as many of these checkboxes as you require, so it is the exact way in which you do your tax season. Once you've had a chance to modify those, you'll see that when you click these checkboxes, you will get a color which actually darkens as you go across, so you can visually see where are you in terms of the completion of your season. Now, one further thing as well is when you click the checkbox to fill it out, if you then click beside it in the same column, it will have recorded who filled that out and on what day. So if there's any discrepancies, you know who to go and speak to. Now, as a funny little side note, the default color of the status here is actually this really, really vibrant lime green. And if you're anything like me, you may not want to stare at a screen full of that kind of green. So if you'd like to change it, the color is specific to your personal preference. So if we go to the upper right-hand portion, you'll see there's a little box with a bubble in it there. And I can then change the color to my preference. So if some of the guys in the office like that manly salmon color, they can go ahead and do that. My personal preference is blue, and I find it looks great in the program. Here's how things generally go. Every single client begins the season with you of the awaiting client status. Now, as we all know, when a client first comes to see you, they don't generally bring you everything you need from them. So your first status switch will probably be on hold, missing information. When you do that, you can click the client's name to go right to their file and then maybe add in a communication that says what you're still missing here. When the client finally brings you everything you'll need, I'll change them to in progress, and I will click off that I've received all their docs, and that date right beside it will be recorded. I can then use the in-house due date to specify when I want these files to be completed by. So you may have a turnaround time of 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever the case may be. From the date you said you received everything, the days in progress will begin counting the amount of days that those files have been in your office until you physically change the status of the client to completed, at which point that completion date will be recorded in the completed column. So you will always be able to see when did it first come in, when did you want it finished by, how many days did it actually take you, and what was the completion date, and finally who was overall responsible for this particular client. Now, one final thing that's nice about this days in progress column is not only does it show you the number of days, but it will also have an average at the bottom of the column. So at the end of your season, if your average tells you that you had an average of 15 days, you had a fantastic season. Everything went well. No hiccups happened. There wasn't, an abundance of clients where we couldn't keep up with them. So everything just had a great time. Now, it also might say that you have an average of 25 days. You may have had 1 or 2 clients that just ruined the overall average for everybody. Or it might be that you had a large amount of new clients without the proper staff to keep up with the new amount or volume that's come in. So that could give you some proper insight as to what you might want to do to adjust for next season. Now, as I said, personal clients do get separated for each different year. So one final thing about that is in this list view, you will be able to look at any previous year that you've done in the program by using this drop-down in the upper right just above the list. So if I were to change back to 2012, if I had that listing, and run a search for all awaiting clients, then it would tell me within seconds, for 2012, here are the 23 clients or so that did not come to see me for that last year. So I can then take that list, give it to one of my users, and then have them start calling those clients to see not only what happened, but also to try and recapture that lost revenue, providing you still want that business from that client. Now, one other thing to note is you guys do have quite a few clients in your list usually, so you don't want to scroll by hand to find them in here. What you can do is use the Find Client button. It will search by last name first. So as you start typing in the last name, once you find the client's file and click Find, it will highlight it in the list for you. So you don't have to physically scroll down and find that yourself.